Hello? Baby?
Obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, a formerly classified CIA document that chronicled the history of the U-2 spy plane. A heavily redacted version had previously been released in 1998. According to the report, in 1955, the remote site, which included an airfield not used by the military since World War II. Test flights of that spy plane and subsequent aircraft accounted for many of the UFO sightings in the area. The U-2 could reach altitudes much higher than any other planes at this time. After the U-2 was put into service in 1956, Area 51 was used to develop other aircraft.
I'm not supposed to talk. How do I say it? I've always known I'm not supposed to be talking.
And I saw them. I mean, you couldn't miss them.
If anything, they're more curious about us as we are about them.
They wanted to borrow the image, or borrow the negative.
What has happened to us? They were in a formation, and I remember seeing something, a flashing light. I couldn't tell the shape of whatever it was.
People are reporting seeing lights in the sky.
We're going to take you on a journey from the dreamy draw to dreamland, on a highway whose development began at the most perfect time in history, which ironically got approval the same year the Nevada desert became the new playground for the military. By now, you've learned that the dreamy draw is a hotspot for paranormal activities, and this includes UFO sightings. We have confirmed that ley lines intersect in the dreamy draw, and recent discoveries have shown that there is a third ley line that intersects with the existing two, making the energy coming from the earth extremely intense. You can actually hear it emitting while you're inside the cave system within this range. Major incidents have taken place above and inside this mountain range, but one of them is completely false. There's an old story claiming that this dam is covering up the wreckage of a UFO crash that took place in 1947. The story goes that there was a flying saucer that crashed right in this area, and the wreckage was eventually covered up by the US government. As cool as that sounds, it's just not true. Cover-up did take place in this area, but it has nothing to do with a dam or a UFO. The cover-up that took place was on a much larger scale, and its location is in that direction. What sits underneath this portion of the 51 affected people in this area for over 30 years, and in my opinion, is still doing so in present day. If you're a resident in Phoenix, you're well aware that people are drawn to this mountain range during the hottest times of the year. What would cause someone to come out here with no water, no hiking experience, in 118-degree weather? This area contains some of the richest mercury mines in the world. On the flip side of that coin, the mercury toxicity was extremely high. In 1916, A man by the name of Sam Hughes owned and operated the Rico Company and its mining operations. The main mineral that was pulled from this area is cinnabar, known as mercury in its raw form, which is commonly associated with volcanic rock. Another name for this is quicksilver. These mines were worked for almost 30 years until they began to shut them down in the early 40s. During this period, the mercury miners and even the locals reported seeing strange beings of all different shapes and sizes while being in the dreamy draw. The neurological effects on the brain from mercury toxicity causes hallucinations and an altered state of mind. The stories that have come out of the dreamy draw are flat out intriguing. The Hopi stay away from this area and have done so for over 1,000 years. Knowing the Hopi avoid going into the dreamy draw, it confuses me as to why they renamed its highest peak after a Hopi woman.
That area has been, I think a lot of archaeologists say that a long time ago that the Anasazi were in that area, but that's not true. They were like us, but they were counterfeits. And a long time ago, especially in the Cave Creek area, there was a lot of demonic type of practices and rituals taking place in the native people. All the wicked stuff was happening in that area there. We Hopis and stuff, we don't like to, go around in that area.
Has anyone in present day told you about any experiences involving these activities along this stretch of mountains?
Last summer, I spent some time with this other artist, and she used to winter down in Cave Creek. A lady friend of hers had some property, and she stayed there during the winter. And she said that she was seeing things, hearing things all the time. It was kind of afraid, but it was a free place to stay during the winter. So she would stay there. And finally, the woman died, and her daughter, after her mother died, told my friend, "You can't come back." And she was saying, "That's cool with me." And she's a bit of a medicine woman as well. But how dark spirits, a dark energy, seeing red eyes looking into her. She has a camper or a trailer. Red eyes looking in through her windows. Stuff like that in that area. Some of the best water is from that area. And they wanted to start doing fracking in that area so they could mess up that whole... They've already messed up... Mining itself has already messed up aquifers in that northwest region or northeast region, including a sacred mountain on the Hopi reservation called Black Mountain.
The final piece to the 51 came in recent years, and that was the addition of the exit known as Black Mountain Boulevard. The controversy surrounding this exit's location and its name is something we will revisit at a later time. This area is historically known to the ancient Puebloans as the foothills of the sacred Black Mountains. Its location is marked on a set of maps that have been a part of Arizona's lore since the early 40s. They are known as the Peralta Stone Maps. These maps were discovered by a man while on a family vacation. His name was Travis E. Tumlinson. He unearthed this horse and priest map near the Highway 60. It's a dual-sided map that contains an image of a priest holding a cross, standing on stairs that has the year 1847 at the bottom. The reverse side contains a beautifully etched horse with Spanish wording. The important features on this side are the number 5 with 4 dots, 2 mining symbols that resemble donuts, a river and north-facing direction. When it comes to these maps, the one rule that you should always follow that will save you a lot of time is don't use these maps to search for the lost Dutchman mine. The truth is, Travis Tomlinson fabricated these maps, and throughout history, they were connected to the Jacob Waltz story. They were never meant to be associated with the superstitions as an end result. These maps, in fact, point to two locations that are right here in the heart of Phoenix. This horse is Camelback Mountain. The priest is Piestewa Peak. The 5 with 4 dots is Orion. These two donut-shaped mining symbols are buttes at the base of the sacred Black Mountains. The 51 northbound ends at the foothills of these mountains. These two symbols are buttes that are located here in North Phoenix. One of the buttes is currently being torn down, which sits right in front of this BMX track, which was inevitably named after the Hopi Sacred Mountains. This was once home to a very huge archaeological find that took place in the 70s. Its discovery revealed an ancient place of worship with very important relics that belonged to the native community. We will dive into this a little bit later, but now the important area of focus is these mountains and where they lead to. If you're tapped into our native community, you learn very quickly that strange lights in the sky is a common thing. And in this stretch of mountains, plenty of sightings have been witnessed. There are ley lines all through these mountains heading north. There's a heavy area of concentration where ley lines cross in Sedona. This is home to one of many vortexes that exist on the western side of this country. If you follow the mountains and minerals that are involved along these ancient sites of passage, you'll end up at a location that we're all familiar with.
My name is Steve Barone. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been here since July of 2011. It's been now over 9 years. I began in April 16th, 2014, and now we're in 2023.
Hey everybody. Hey man, I guess there's a first time for everything.
That's how it got started, and that's what's led to all of this. Little by little, I saved money up and kept buying cameras, tripods, memory cards. I even had to buy a computer to handle making videos. I started the UFO channel on YouTube just 2 or 3 days after I shot the video. I had to figure out how to do it. That was my first video to ever upload to YouTube. That was never anything that I would have even thought of doing. And it's also when I began a little group on Facebook. It still exists, but I turned it over to somebody else a long time ago in order to just discuss UFOs, because I found that in my life, even with my own family, you could see people's eyes rolling when you first mention UFOs or seeing UFOs, and it was hard to have a discussion with anybody. And I can say for sure, I know that a lot of other people that have witnessed UFOs in their life know that after they've seen one, they really, really want to talk about it.
That has never happened to me before. So this is no airplane, no helicopter, no drone, there's nothing flashing. It's just a red light.
In 2015, at that point now, I had purchased just a little camcorder, a Canon. I'll hold it up right here. This is just a little HD Canon camcorder. It shoots in high definition. And that, I figured I always want to do the best I can in trying to shoot these things. But it started getting a little more popular. Not a lot, maybe now I've got 100 people watching a video. But anyway, there was one gentleman in 2015 that lived in North Carolina by the name of Tony Ivy. And unfortunately, he has since passed. But Tony was a big UFO guy that just loved, the fact that people were able to get out and do what I was doing. So he contacted me and he says, I want to donate or give you a night vision camera. And I guess I'm old school. I don't ask for donations or money or anything. I don't want that from people. I just want them to watch the videos. But he would not take no for an answer. And he said, and as a matter of fact, I don't just have a couple. He goes, I have 6 cameras, night vision. I have 2 of the same model. So he sent me, I just caved, and he sent me that camera. Well, that just changed everything, Clive. Once I got that thing and got it on a tripod and started using it, it didn't take long at all until to the north of Las Vegas, the north side of the city, which is occupied by the Las Vegas mountain range and the Sheep mountain range. And then far beyond them would be Area 51. There was never anything in the sky that I could see with my digital camera. And all of a sudden, in 2015, with this night vision, I started seeing the unbelievable formations of UFOs just doing things. It seemed like they were making patterns, almost like star constellations. It was like they were putting on a show or having a really good time, having fun. And you can just imagine the first time I saw them do this and seeing them do this stuff, because what they look like in night vision is like basically a white dot on a dark background. And they're going around and they're doing just unbelievable aerobatics, I guess I should say. So I didn't know if that was a one-off or not, but I'm coming outside every night, as soon as it starts getting dark, and wait. And I could stay out there anyway from an hour to 5 or 6 hours. It just depended on what was going on. But it turns out that these things were always out there, almost all the time. And what blew me away was that I had never seen a video from anybody else of these things. And so over the years, what I found out about them is that the reason nobody else has shot videos of them is that nobody else is using night vision technology and looking at that part of the sky. So I started really trying to promote that, and even now I've not seen anybody else do this. But you cannot see them visually. I couldn't even see them with binoculars. And the digital camera wasn't picking them up. And I thought maybe there's one of 2 things going on. One is that they can cloak. And, that doesn't sound too far-fetched for me, because even our military right now admits to having some success with cloaking. Or that these night vision, binoculars pick up lights so well that they are picking up lights that nobody else can see. So in other words, there's a faint light on these things and it can see them. So it's one of those 2 things. It just has to be, but nobody else has actually shown these things now. After about a year, getting back into 2016 and 17, they were still around. But my feeling was whoever is responsible for these things probably now knows that there's some guy in Las Vegas who got a night vision camera who's shooting video of them. And, I'd be a fool if I'd say that our military didn't know about them. Because if some guy on the west side of Las Vegas is shooting video of these things in the air only miles away from Nellis Air Force Base in Area 51, they have to know about them. The first time I shot a UFO video, that first one, my son actually called Nellis and asked what was going on. And that's where we learned immediately that we weren't going to be told the truth. This thing was going around like a hummingbird. It was flying. It went 14 miles in just seconds. We were told that it was a jet fighter doing maneuvers over the city, which that seems kind of strange for about 8:30 p.m. at night doing it by itself. And once I had seen that just did it for me. That was ultimate confirmation that UFOs are real. I'm already knowing that I'm living in Las Vegas, which is near Nellis Air Force Base, Creech Air Force Base, Area 51, S4, then it just goes on and on. The old nuclear test site, all of these things are less than 80 miles from my home. And since then I've learned, TV stations, I don't call people about them anymore. There was a point where I decided to just take it and put it online and let people judge for themselves what it is they're looking at. But 2015 was phenomenal. That's where the overwhelming majority of everything I caught came from. And it wasn't just those night vision. I do have videos from around the city too that were shot using the digital camera. And that's where I made the choice that now that I've seen the two of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life within 2.5 years, that they're real, and I'm going to make a hobby out of this. I do it because I think it's the right thing to do, and it's just the most amazing thing there is. I don't think there's anything more incredible than the fact that I don't think we're alone.
In present day, Steve and I work together to try to solve where the origins of these craft are coming from. We bounce different ideas and theories on the subject of unexplained aerial phenomena and extraterrestrial life. During 2015, I had no clue he existed, yet we both had our cameras pointed in the sky in two completely different states. As some of you know, a majority of the footage that I captured in Chapter 1 happened during 2015. And in all honesty, I wasn't even searching for UFOs. I was photographing the different planets in our solar system, and I began to notice things flying almost unnoticed in the night sky. Out of the 9 described sightings in Chapter 1, 5 of them happened during 2015. The feature sighting at the Black Mountain BMX track took place during the month of August on a 4-day stretch. The sighting in specific involved highly advanced military craft that I shouldn't have photographed, but it happened. At the same time, in the neighboring state, Steve was capturing footage of things and has 8 different videos in the month of August alone. He had his eye in the sky recording data, and that was probably one of his strongest years of capturing UFO footage throughout the 9 years he's been filming. Let's dive into the Barone files.
Yeah, okay. Let me see. I'm going to look at this real quick on my folders, because when I look at August of 2015, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 different days in August.
At that time, we were doing not only the same exact thing, but right around the same time. So your YouTube page, for those that don't know, it's UFOs over Vegas, right?
Yes.
Okay. And with your YouTube page, started roughly, it sounds like at the end of 2014, but then really things began to pick up in 2015. And that's around the time, especially your videos, I'm looking at these, the archives here of all the videos you sent me. I noticed that in 2015, your content really begins to pick up when it comes to the UFO films and your sightings. And once again, around this time is when I was really starting to see a lot of sightings in Phoenix, Arizona as well. So break that down to us. What happened at that time in 2015? Was it a difference in camera equipment? What was it that changed to where these sightings began to pick up?
Yeah, okay. Let me see. I'm going to look at this real quick on my folders, because, once again, my wife she puts up with me doing the UFO thing. But I told her I'm not going to spend our own money on this stuff. And that's why at first I didn't allow YouTube ads. But then when I started getting more people, I thought I'd be dumb not to at least make a few bucks out of it and use that money to buy equipment, cameras, computers, Never had that much money come in to do all of that, but, it definitely helped. And so little by little, I just started getting more. I had that. The first thing I bought was that Canon camcorder. I just held that up. There's this. I'll show them real quick. Just a tiny little camera. Well, this shit's a nice video, you know. The next thing I got was the night vision monocular that Tony Ivy sent me, and that changed everything. And I had that up until about a year ago, when I finally donated it to another person here locally who I felt was being very supportive of my work. And she lived here. And she lived in a good part of town too, you know, for this. So I gave that to her because I also have a brand new version of that. This thing is about, this version, this is a newer monocular. And this thing is way more powerful than the first one I had. But it wasn't long after I got that I also got, where is it? There it is. There it is. Now is what I'm using is these night vision binoculars. And these things are just incredible. They just got better and better and better. It can take still images that are 5360 by 3008 at 16.1 megapixels. So this camera is, you can have it day or night, even though it's night vision, and you can go out and take amazing photos. That first one, it would shoot 1920 by 1080, which is full HD, which is still pretty good, and it was 1080, you know, like I say, 1080 HD. But it just, when you look through these things and you see the difference that the new one made, you don't want to mess with the old one anymore. So, you know, I had that too. But in the meantime, I also bought this Nikon P900 because of the zoom. This thing has an 83x optical zoom, not digital, optical. And this is wonderful for daytime. Unfortunately, it's not that great for at night. The little Canon even does better at nighttime. The other thing I bought too that I thought I would show is, this is just a spotting scope, mostly used by people who are hunters. It's a Celestron spotting scope. And what you do is you take and you have a little thing where you clamp on your phone, your cell phone, and you can take amazing close-up pictures with this, or video. The only thing it's a little harder because you're trying to get that, you know, everything hooked up just right. So I don't use it a lot, but I've used all of these. I've used all of these in doing my work. But the one thing I stick with more than anything now is night vision, because it just sees everything. You know, it doesn't miss anything. And my goal was to be very consistent, don't miss any time. And so the time that I missed over the first 3.5 years would be if the weather was horrific, if I was on vacation or really sick. Other than that, I was outside every night.
Nellis Air Force Base, Area 51, S4, and Lord knows whatever else is going on out there. But talk to me a little bit, give us a little bit of a history about those areas in specific, and mainly talk to me about Dreamland and how that name came about.
Okay. You know, Area 51, I mean, I think it was originally, you know, they needed somewhere that was very safe to reverse engineer and do things, try out, you know, the spy planes and all of the other things that they do, you know, and of course we're never going to know about everything, but I think that goes back to sometime in the late 50s and early 60s, where I remember there was a gentleman that they interviewed that he was the guy that went out in his Cessna flying around this part of the country trying to figure out where it would be the best place. And it just happened to be the best place that he could find was this place called Groom Lake. And of course, Groom Lake turned out later on became Area 51. The word Dreamland, I think that came from some code words that were used back in the day. And it's a real descriptive name.
When it comes to everything that you're seeing in the sky, over the past 9 years? A majority of these sightings, I mean, obviously they're all over the place, but are they over a specific area like Nellis Air Force Base or even Area 51?
Yeah, of course it was that night vision that Tony donated to me that just made me understand even more. More goes on over those mountains than anywhere else. And those mountains aren't part of the Nellis test range. They are just, they do have areas that are fenced off because they're live munitions and stuff that have been exploded out there. I don't know why that would be there because it's not on the test range. You can actually go back there behind Las Vegas Mountain. But it's an area that's just very rugged, and it's, I couldn't go there because I don't have a Jeep. I'd need to have a Jeep or something to go there. But it's my feeling after 9 years is that, first of all, that what we have here is just probably like Phoenix. We have a military presence in Luke Air Force Base. You have Luke Air Force Base there. We have Nellis. We also have Creech. And, we also have Area 51 close by. But and it's hard to put a percentage on it. But I would say that the overwhelming majority of anything I have on video is probably, first of all, it's technology that's just off the hook. I mean, that's why I don't care if it's alien or if it's man-made. That technology that's being displayed is just unbelievable. And I probably, every time I think I've seen it all, then something comes along where you see a shapeshifter or something. But I would say that probably 75% of everything that I caught on video, I mean, I'm not a conspiracy nut, but I would say that our government definitely knows about them. And if they don't, like I said, we're in trouble because some old man in Vegas is shooting video of them. That the military has to know about them. But the really fun part is the things that I don't think are man-made. And I've seen my fair share of those too. And I got some of them on video. Some of them very luckily. But it's a matter of putting in the time. And if you're out there all the time, I remember thinking to myself, man, if people are getting abducted, if any of this stuff is happening, it's probably happens in Las Vegas, just like anywhere else, right?
When it comes to, because you mentioned shape-shifting videos, you mentioned abduction, you mentioned objects that are man-made, objects that could be extraterrestrial and things like that. Let's, because once again, we're gonna show the people your archives, and this isn't even all of the footage. This is just some of the stuff where I was like, hey, hold on, man. We're at about 3 hours now, right? But I mean, you have hours upon hours upon hours of footage, and it's everything that you discussed. You have a prime example of it. So what I would like to do is you have a couple videos here where it says incredibly strange UFOs. It's in night vision. You also have incredible aerial demonstration. Now, these look like they're in 2015, but the patterns of these UFOs is what I'm really focused on. Describe, the patterns that you see and the geometrical shapes that are taking place, because this stuff looks like something that's extraterrestrial. Break that down for me. Yeah,
well, I would think the same thing. I mean, I even get criticized because while I'm talking over some of this stuff that I'm not all excited, but, trust me, I do get excited. It's just that, that first one I told you about when I moved here, that thing scared the crap out of me, not to mention my adrenaline running, but it starts becoming more normal, and it starts becoming where you're kind of expecting to see something. And so you want to be, I try not to be overbearing or saying things that I don't know. I'm just trying to describe what I'm seeing. And, one of the things that I think now, and I could be wrong, I could be totally wrong, is that I also watch a lot of UFO documentaries. I watch everything there is on UFOs. And that's where I became familiar with Charles James Hall. And he was, in the mid-60s, he was a meteorologist for Nellis Air Force Base. So what they did is they stuck him all by himself out on this range. And it's not the Nellis test range. He's out there in the areas where I just talked about, where it's the areas around the Sheep Mountains, it's the Las Vegas Mountains. He had freedom to go anywhere he wanted, but he is the man that made the name Tall Whites popular. And, I think most people that are into ufology have heard of the Tall Whites. But the more I would see of this man and the more I would watch his documentaries and stuff, the more I realized this is all happening with this night vision. All of these formations is happening in a place where he described. Thing is, it's more than 50 years later. And I was just thinking, wow, is it possible that these are the Tall Whites? Are they still there? And, there was one event that just put me over the top on what he said, because in his Millennial series, he was talking about these Tall Whites having these scout crafts, and that they would come at times and land at a place called the charcoal kilns over the Clark County charcoal kilns. So, this goes way back to the old days when they used charcoal for a lot of things. And they'd have kilns where they'd make this charcoal. And the thing about that was, he said they would land there because it was remote, nobody around, it's semi-flat, and that they'd all get out. And, of course, you don't hear people talking about alien kids, but he mentioned alien children getting out and playing, So anyway, one night, I think it was November 12th, maybe, I don't know if it was 2015. Might be. I think it was November 12th, though. I'm using that night vision, and I see 5 of these things. And I'm just following them. And just one at a time, in a row, in an arc, went down behind one of these mountains in my neighborhood that are 3 miles away. And so, just for the giggles, I use Google Earth a lot. I use Flight Tracker a lot, just to see things and know the geography. And what I did is I drew a line from my home right through the mountain where I saw him go down, and that line went straight through the charcoal kilns. It was like almost exactly on top of them. And I thought, how strange, because 5 things went down, and as long as I waited, I didn't see anything else come back up. So I thought, man, there's a good chance that these are actually the Tall Whites. And that would be alien, extraterrestrial. The second thing that I think is, I'm also friends with a guy in England. And I met him because of all of this, because of UFOs. His name is Gary McKinnon. And Gary McKinnon was the guy who, back in the 90s, he was just curious about UFOs, and is a very talented hacker. And he hacked into the computers at NASA and the Johnson Space Center. And there, even though he had real slow internet, he found evidence of extraterrestrial officers. He saw photographs of gigantic cigar-shaped, he called it a dreadnought, and little scout crafts, little smaller crafts. But anyway, he said it's our Space Force. And this is from the 1980s, not the Space Force we're talking about now, the modern Space Force. This is a Space Force from going back to Ronald Reagan. And anyway, he got in a lot of trouble, man, and they tried to extradite him to the United States. Long story short is this went on and on and on, and they wouldn't turn him over, and finally charges were dropped. But to me, I would think they would drop him right away because he knew things that were just amazing. So to me, when you see this keeps even now is going on, I don't think it's going on as close to me as it was before back in 2015, because they know I'm here, they know other people know about it now, and maybe whatever they're doing, maybe they've moved them a little bit further away somewhere where people can't see them. But I know that they're exotic because it's been 9 years and nobody that I've heard of or seen has the same kind of videos. And I would love if people started shooting video of them because it would show that I've been telling the truth all along.
We've discussed 2015, pretty much we're in the sky. A lot of my footage from 2015 comes more, towards the beginning, January, March, April, and then it shifts to August. And that's where it really got crazy when it came to the UFO. It was like a black triangle. And then 4 days later, a helicopter circles the area. Looks like they were intimidating, trying to intimidate. But then, they were using a spotlight. And that's when a couple days later realized really that same night they were searching for something. So as time goes on, because once again, I'm looking in these archives here, right? And you have it goes from like night vision to, it looks like even the night vision, the quality of it looks like you upgraded, and some of this stuff looks like military night vision. So break down the advanced technology from 2016, what you're filming, to 2017, 2018.
So for 3.5 years, I did this, and there was a point where I just came up against a brick wall. I just couldn't do it anymore because it's not exactly the most exciting thing in the world. Most nights you're not seeing anything, and you're just out there. And, I'm surprised that the neighbors never knew I was there. I was afraid they might think I'm some kind of peeping Tom or something, but so after that 3.5 years, which I figured I put in at least 1,000 nights of just watching the sky, that I'm just going to slow down. And I've slowed down ever since now. So that's going all the way back to the end of 2017 till now, where I still go out. But what's changed now is I don't see much at night, but I do walk into amazing things happening in the daytime. So now I'm starting to get motivated even more, but I don't think I'll ever get back to the, going out every day or every night.
Now I want to talk about abduction and one video in particular that I personally feel is an abduction video. Now, we've discussed this video. This video is I believe is the one that I came across when I found your page, UFOs over Vegas. You've had this video caused a lot of stir. I believe this is one of your videos that went viral, and you've had some very important people reach out to you about this video. So let's talk about the Little Red Rock video that was filmed on December 11th, 2019.
Yes, I totally remember that. To me at the time, that was the most amazing video I ever shot.
Before we go into this video, I need you to understand this. You may have witnessed or even viewed objects in the sky that appear to be a star, or sometimes even conventional aircraft. And then the appearance changes, displaying their true form. This film clip here that was displayed in chapter 1 shows a bright light in the sky that attempted to take the appearance of Venus. Its movement through the night sky didn't go with the rotation of the stars and planets. The night vision camera I used seemed to get its attention before eventually moving out of the camera's view. This type of unexplained aerial phenomena continues to leave me speechless. In this video, the UAP that occurred attempted to mimic a helicopter. I want you to remember how helicopters work. You've probably seen them every day. Remember their characteristics. Light patterns, sounds, their behavior are all noticeable. Police, news, and military helicopters contain a different series of light features that are called navigational and positional lights. These aviation light patterns are broken down like this. Most helicopters, like police, news, rescue, and medical transport, have a green, red, and white lights. These lights are needed in low visibility conditions to avoid collision while being airborne. The white light is typically on the tail section of the craft. These lights are needed so that way they can be seen from the ground or by other aircraft. The green light is on every airborne and waterborne vehicle, marking the starboard side, which is on the right. The red light indicates the left side of the craft. Police and news helicopters have an additional red light, which will remain solid, which indicates that the craft is recording or broadcasting video. When it comes to military helicopters, you'll almost certainly see a red light and a white light. But the patterns of these lights are different. If the red and white light are flashing one after another, normally that's just a training exercise or transport. However, if you see a military helicopter and the red light flashes 3 times, followed by a pause, and it repeats this process, things are far more serious, and you should start recording. This footage was viewed by Richard Doty, and he also contacted Steve and told him what he captured could be historic.
I just need to describe where I'm at and where this happened. This happened approximately 3 miles from my home. And that is 3 miles going towards Red Rock Canyon and the Pine Mountains, the Spring Mountains, and specifically the Madre Mountain. So it's only 3 miles away, but I was at my computer on that day. It was December 11th, 2019. And this never happens to me, but I just got an urge to get up and go out. And I even grabbed my camera. And I'll be damned if I looked over there and I didn't see something amazing going on. And once again, it's 3 miles. I just gotta make this clear with people right away. When helicopters fly over, and they fly over every day, I can hear them coming while I'm in the house. And I can get outside and be about the time they come over because they're so loud. And, especially the Metro helicopter, it's very loud. And it's a kind of a badass helicopter. But anyway, I didn't hear anything, went out there and saw lights and just got I got my night vision on it, and it was a moonlit night. It was really nice. Beautiful. So it made the video even better because that's the monocular that I actually gave to this lady. And for 57 minutes, man, I filmed this thing doing stuff you would just not believe. I saw it. It looked like there were glowing spears, like white, coming up and down out of this thing, almost like they were doing an extraction. But then I saw one going up, and this just gave it away to me, was when you're hoisting something with a helicopter. And by the way, I'm a veteran. I was in the Navy for 3 years active and 3 years inactive. And I was also with the Gator Navy. I was with the Navy Seabees, the SEALs, assault crafts, all the river boats and all that. That was the group I was with. And I've seen a lot of stuff, man. But one thing this thing did was, at one time it was raising something up, glowing, And so imagine my hand is the helicopter right here, and this thing's coming up. Well, when you see something going up that's being hoisted up, it should go into the middle of that what's pulling it up, right? This thing was swinging a bit, and it was way out to the side going up. Then there was a time where it was going up, and then this object just takes off, and this thing's still going up to go into it. I can tell you, man, I mean, unless it's just a really big emergency, military helicopter, when they're hoisting somebody into the helicopter, it's rare that they would ever get underway while they're still raising somebody up into that helicopter. So just all of this went on. I just kept seeing unbelievable visuals from this thing. And the thing about the night vision on that night, because of the sun, because of the moonlight, not only could I see all of the homes that I was shooting over the roofs of in my neighborhood, but I could also see the mountains. I could see bushes, trees, rocks. I could see everything on the mountains. This thing just never looked the same 2 times in a row, but it also, in 57 minutes, it never looked like a helicopter. And the reason I keep bringing helicopters up is when I have videos like this that are really amazing, they are always more controversial. And I get a lot of people saying, "Oh, that's a helicopter," you know, and I try not to let it drag me down because I fully expect those kind of comments anyway. But, you know, in other comments, I get comments like on that one. I got a comment from a guy says, "I've been a helicopter mechanic and a pilot for X amount of years, a lot of years. And I can just tell you that is not a helicopter." I had one other guy that I loved this one. He said it's a helicopter, but it's from another dimension, you know, and I got a kick out of that. But the one that really got to me is I got a message from a gentleman that I recognize his name. His name is Rick Doty. And he just said, "You know, I can't say much, but I can tell you that that video might prove to be historic." Of course, it hasn't, but he said it might be. And when I looked him up, I found out that he, of all people, was famous for being a debunker in the Air Force. That was his job, but not anymore. Now he's one of those guys that's stepping out. He's telling the truth. And, you know, I did message him back, and I says, "Can you tell me more?" And he says, no, not really, but, you know. So that was an amazing thing, though. And then the other thing is that when you do these videos, you see things at a higher level of clarity than any video that's published. You also see everything that's in the background. You know, things that you're not showing everybody. Even though I try to always show the entire video, not 20 seconds of the most sensational period. I show, if it's an hour long, I show the whole hour. And what I noticed is that when this vehicle was leaving that area, it came even closer to my area, but it was at an altitude where, at a distance, it was still lower than the trees. But in some of the trees that were closer, I could see there was another one, just like it, just sitting there waiting. Tiny little one. It wasn't even involved. It never did any of these maneuvers. They even had a green glowing orb of some kind in that thing. But, you know, once again, when I looked at this object, it did not resemble a helicopter. At one point, it resembled a triangle when it's over a roof, and you could just see it as clear as day. See the roof as clear as day, the mountains as clear as day. And, you know, I have filmed a lot of helicopters with those cameras, and they look like helicopters, just like the houses look like houses. You know, I actually even took it down for a while because I wanted to have only videos that I was 100% sure that they were UFOs up. So I don't think I have it up right now, but I'm probably going to put it back up again because you just run across the weirdest things. People contact you never heard of before, telling you they work with MUFON or they're some kind of investigator. And, I've even asked for their help on like this newest one, this shapeshifter from the daytime, Mark D'Antonio. I sent him a message and said, would you be willing to look at it? It's only 1 minute and 13 seconds long. Yeah. Never heard another word from him. And this happens all the time. And that's where I got to where I had a hard time kind of trusting a lot of people.
So I have been watching this video the entire time, and this thing is just doing stuff that is unconventional to what any helicopter, and once again, I know flight pattern as far as the lights are concerned, aviation lights. I know the difference between a police helicopter, a news helicopter, a military helicopter. The blades even sound differently. When a police helicopter is recording, when military helicopters are over dangerous and rugged terrains and things like that. I know flight patterns, especially aviation lights. And I'm looking at this thing, and sometimes, like even right now, it kind of ducks behind a chimney, and it almost looks like you can see it, blasting and flashing through the chimney. So I mean, this thing is there's one point where I'm looking at it right now. The light is so intense, you can see it shining on the chimney that's even closer to the actual home itself. I'm right about 7 minutes and 4. Looks like about 7 minutes and 4. 8 minutes and 53 seconds in that range. But it is just. You can see the light like kind of bouncing off the chimney here, and there's this continuous red light that's flashing, and anytime you see a continuous red light, that does mimic an aviation sound or aviation light. But normally in this kind of motion, being that it's so close, there's something coming out of it and going back up. That light should be solid, because it would be in some sense recording, right? So this is a video that I have never, once again, I haven't seen anything like this since 3 years ago, 4 years ago, actually. Wow, that was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I haven't seen anything like this. This video, every time I see it, it just, like right now, here we are at 8 minutes, and this is where it gets really interesting. Actually 10 minutes, or 10 minutes and 3 seconds. Here's the light coming out of it. It looks like it's either shining. I can't tell if that's a house or if that's the mountain, but there is a light being dropped. And my thing is, anytime you see a helicopter, and I can't even think of the correct term, but when somebody is coming out of the helicopter to maybe do a rescue mission or something like that, there's always some sort of movement. I mean, you're coming from a helicopter that's balancing in the air, and these blades are keeping you still. The light that is going down does not appear to be attached to anything, and it is moving perfectly still in a straight arrow. And you have a good line of sight on this. I've never seen anything like this, especially like I'm watching it now and it's moving and there's light. I think that's a house. I can't tell, but I see little lights blinking. Like, that's just interesting. I don't know what this I'm looking at it, man, and it is just whatever this is, it's like a light that's going up the mountain and it's moving extremely fast. And at the distance that you are on this ocular piece, even if that is something moving up the mountain, that's moving up the mountain at a very fast pace. I want you to take a look at that and see. This is right around.
Right. I was going to say, even that coming up and down from the object, I've seen a lot of just helicopters doing, evacuations and stuff. Like part of boot camp. I was in a winter training with the Marines, and one of the things we did was they extract you And you get several people on. You're on a rope, and the helicopter just lifts you out of there quick and takes you and you're just hanging. You're not pulled up into the helicopter, but it just doesn't seem like the times I've seen anyone being pulled up is they pull them up fast and let them down fast.
Yeah.
And once again, there is a point in there where you see what they're bringing up is not under the helicopter, it's to one side of it. So, when you're hoisting something and there's no wind, nothing can be out like this and going up this way. It's always going to be this way.
Exactly. And one thing I'm seeing now, just the lights are always, they're distinctive, meaning you're able to see the difference in, like, for example, a police helicopter. When I look at this, the colors I see, somebody sees it, you would automatically think maybe a police helicopter, right? But here's the thing. The lights are distinctive. You're able to see where that red light flashing is coming from. You're able to see where the blue light is. You're able to see where the spotlight from the front of the helicopter is coming down. These lights are so immense and they're so intense, you really can't make out where it's coming from, where these lights are actually coming from. Like, I've never once again, never seen anything like this, and I haven't seen anything like it since. And I'm still watching. I've been watching this thing 13 minutes now, and this is just, it's doing things that you don't see, especially in a neighborhood like this. The one thing about this video is the canyons. You're in a canyon. Is it called Little
Yeah,
Red
it's
Rock?
actually, the houses are kind of, they fool your eye a little bit. The houses are in my neighborhood. And so to get over there, for me, I drive my car, I park at the end of the houses, and then I hike for 2 miles to get up there through rugged desert. And it's not near the houses like that. However, in all the time that you've been watching it here in this last 20 minutes, did you notice any green lights on there?
No, it's like a bluish, whitish, like I can't, it's so intense. You can't really make it. It's like a bluish, whitish. And now I'm looking at it, and for a third time, it looks like it's going back in the same, and you're on it. You are on this, man. And there is something coming out of it, like you said, to the side, and it's slow. I mean,
well,
I don't know I cannot tell you what I'm looking at. I'm looking at it. I know I see it. There's this light. It's in between maybe it's the ground, and then it's this really intense light shining upon it. I have no idea what the hell I'm looking. I've never seen anything like this. And where am I? I'm at like 1511 right now. And I mean, it's just, it looks like there's 3 or 4 of them. You know what I mean? And this, I'm looking at the time, 1757, that's going on what, 6 o'clock? Is that right?
Yeah, 1757. So that's 5 something p.m.
5:58.
Yeah.
So the sun is still out. It's not dark, right? The sun is
You know
still
what?
out.
I wonder if I'm wondering. I usually am pretty anal about making sure the clock is right.
Okay.
That seemed in my memory to be more at night, but April, in April it doesn't get dark until around 5 or 6.
This is December
or December. Okay, I'm sorry. That is right. That is right, because what am I thinking? I'm thinking of my other date. That is right, because at that time of year, I hate daylight savings time. I wish we were like you guys in Arizona. It can get dark by 5 p.m. In December. Wow. And then in the summer, it can stay light until 10:30, where you still have some daylight. You see it on the horizon. It doesn't truly get dark until after then. But yeah, and then in this case, what really helped was just the fact that it was, if not full, it was pretty full moon.
You zoomed in so close to this thing, and I'm trying to make out some sort of object. I'm not making out anything. The light is so intense. There's no helicopter out there. As far as the market we know, that is so bright. The lights are so bright, you cannot make out. I can attempt to replicate this, and I will not, just simply because I will be able, even at nighttime, I would be able to make out the body, the colors, something. I'm watching it now. This light is still beneath, but yet it's flying away.
Yeah, there's only a few moments in that video, Clive, where it isn't that bright and you can see the craft. I mentioned earlier to you, not while we were talking now, but there's a part where it's over the roof of a house, or it appears to be, and it seems to be moving to the left. Well, in that one, all you see is a kind of like a wedge of pie. Like if you took a piece of pie and aimed it like it's going left, there's a point in the front and two in the back. So you're seeing it at kind of an angle going. You're looking at that thing, and it's not a helicopter.
Before we go any further, you should know that I contacted the Las Vegas Metro PD, the Clark County Sheriff's Office, and the Nevada Department of Public Safety in regards to any rescue missions or incidents involving the police or news the day this video footage was filmed. All have confirmed that none of the airborne craft or state official vehicles were in the area at this date and time. We reached out to Nellis Air Force Base, and we have yet to receive a response on this sighting. And there's a good explanation for that. We'll get into that in just a second. For now, let's focus on an important question. Is this craft extraterrestrial, or is it man-made? Going back to the feature sighting that was in Chapter 1, that was spotted over the Black Mountain BMX track, this was the first time that I was able to get confirmation from a credible source within the aerospace industry on an unidentified flying object. This craft that was photographed in August of 2015 was a man-made craft that's a part of our advanced aviation programs. When it comes to our advanced applications, they exist and they are highly sophisticated. In my personal opinion, 85% of the sightings that occur are man-made craft that are a part of our advanced aviation programs that are kept secret from the public. And there's a reason for this. There's also a reason why we haven't heard from Nellis Air Force Base. And there's a good chance we never will. Simply because they probably don't know what it is. Back in 2013, due to the use of the Freedom of Information Act, the CIA had to release over 5 million documents involving Area 51 and what was going on at the secret base. Moving forward, they learned that through the use of the FOIA, the secret programs on government property would forever be at risk of becoming public knowledge. So the future of advanced aviation programs was placed in the hands of private aerospace throughout the country, simply because they do not have to abide by the Freedom of Information Act. This is why we haven't heard back from Nellis Air Force Base. A great start on finding out where this craft came from, or what it actually is, will start with the private aerospace industry within the Las Vegas area. Through observation, this craft that was filmed in Red Rock Canyon is not a conventional airborne craft that we would see on a daily basis. This craft does display aviation light patterns, and it even appears to have a spotlight. However, the aviation and navigational patterns that are displayed in this video are extraordinary. The lights that are on this object have the ability to completely disguise its true form. Military helicopters with no identifying numbers cannot perform what we are currently looking at. Even with having their spotlights on, you're still able to make out the body and its shape, as shown in these pictures. We are able to see in detail the mountains, which are further in distance. It's confusing as to why this craft and the details of it are not being shown. Even when the lights aren't as intense, you're unable to make out the body. It appears that there's a red light at the back end, with a combination of white, red, and blue lights at the front. It seems that this series of lights are on both sides of the craft. And most importantly, the light that comes in and out from the bottom, that light is extremely intense. And it's very similar to the brightness of lights that's reported in abduction cases. This behavior happens over a home and the mountainside of Red Rock Canyon. Whatever this craft is, we will find out. In the meantime, this sighting is left as unexplained. Now we're going to dive deeper into the Barone files. In some situations, you end up being at the right place and time. This video shows an unidentified flying object that Steve was tracking, and then all of a sudden, this flies into view.